Go ahead, turn it up. It's the Record Machine Show with your host, Jimmy Howe.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome from the Library Birds guitarist Sammy Bee and singer-guitarist LG Brown to the program. How you doing, Sammy?
Doing good.
Hey, Jimmy.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing well. Thanks for talking to us tonight, Jimmy.
No problem, man. Where are you guys calling from?
We are in St. Louis, or the county of St. Louis.
Oh, nice.
Missouri.
How's the music scene there?
Good. It's been changing a lot, I feel. I think Sammy and I were talking about this a little earlier.
Right.
That everybody kind of got locked down during COVID.
Right.
And coming out of that, we're seeing not only a resurgence in sort of a lot of new, really great projects around town, but some interesting pockets. Like there's some really interesting shoegaze bands and sort of like a little mini scene cropping up in the aftermath of COVID. There's in shoegaze, there's like Future Modern and Seashine locally, and same thing in the psychedelia realm. There seems to be a little psychedelia scene booming with like Mobile Alien Research Unit and Subtropolis and a bunch of others, Plaid and the Panther, a bunch that I'm not thinking of right now. But it's been really interesting to see sort of the artists that were on standby coming out of COVID and kind of ready to boom. And those people have just hit the ground running. So there's a lot of great stuff going on in St. Louis right now.
Indeed.
That's cool, man. Yeah, COVID kind of screwed up everybody, huh?
Well, I mean, I think it's how you handled it. You know, I certainly used the time to learn some things and to write more music, even though I didn't have anybody to play with. But, I feel like it was time well spent. And but it definitely, like the projects that I had going on pre-COVID are gone. So it's kind of screwed up in that regard, sort of reset everything.
Yeah.
Allowed us to all begin anew.
Gotcha. Yeah, I lived in New Jersey most of my life, and 4 years ago, I moved down to Myrtle Beach in South Carolina. And, if you've ever been to South Carolina, or Myrtle Beach, I should say, they rely on tourism. And, because of COVID, a lot of businesses got shut down here. There wasn't anything going on. It was like a freaking ghost town.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So have you had a resurgence in the aftermath? Is the tourism back yet, or is it still kind of
it's back.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's in full force. It's busy now. I mean, I get a lot of people coming down here from all over the country: Canada, California, upstate New York, Pennsylvania, even by you guys too, St. Louis. So
right,
And then come down there to hang out on the beach, or I've never been to Myrtle Beach.
Well, I guess during the winter months for me where I live, people are coming from Canada. It's a lot colder there. So they come here, they call them snowbirds. They spend about 4 or 5 months during our winter here to escape theirs, because theirs is a lot colder than ours, if that makes sense. I know Sammy from internet radio. I mean, Sammy, when was the last time we hung out? That was about 10 years ago, right? Or more than that, right?
I can't recall the exact date, but yeah, it
might have been like 2009, right? Like at Wolf's Place.
Wow.
I think you're right. Yeah, actually, you know what? You are right, because that was right around when Obama was president.
Yeah, because I remember you drove up to hang out, and you spent I guess the day or the weekend over there, and that was the first time I met you in person. But I mean, I knew you from from Rocktown and stuff. But it was really cool to to meet you in person and hear you guys play and stuff like that. And here we are now talking about this great band that you guys put together. Can you tell me a little bit about yourselves, your musical background, and how long you've been playing music? When did you get started doing it?
Sure. As a band or as individuals?
As individuals.
Okay. Well, why don't you go first, Sammy?
Okay.
I
probably started when I was probably like 16 or maybe 17 years old. I think I started playing guitar in 16 and started to mimic all my rock guitar gods that I worshipped at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And afterwards, I wanted to get a band together, so a bunch of kids from high school, we would get together on the weekend and we'd find one of our parents' houses that would let us come over there and play loud music, and we tried and we sounded terrible, you know what I mean? But you got to start somewhere. And,
Right.
you know, after that, I, continued playing, and eventually it became uncool to play guitar for a little bit. And so I sort of stopped, and then moved to Memphis, Tennessee, and everybody and their mom plays guitar in Memphis. And so I'm serious. There's like grandmas. Just
I believe it.
Your face off.
Yeah.
Grandma's out shredding you?
Yeah, she's out shredding. No, I'm kidding. But no, seriously though, everybody plays guitar, and so I picked it back up, and basically I started off, I was like, I'm going to do it right this time, and start off with an acoustic and learn my chords and my scales and all that stuff. And several years later, probably after meeting you, Jimmy, around 2009, 2010, I started getting into bands here in St. Louis, and started playing, just with some bands, and that they would do well for a year or so, and then it would fall apart, and then or you join another band, and so on and so forth. And it's been a journey. So that's pretty much me in a nutshell.
Cool.
And my background, actually, it's a little surprising to hear Sammy describe his. I don't know if I've heard it but so concisely from him before, but mine mirrors a lot, especially of his early years. I started playing guitar and songwriting when I was about 16, 17. Was in some terrible punk bands for a while, and similarly, though for different reasons, I dropped off. So I played from about 17 to 23 or so, and then I gave it up. I thought I was done. I thought I was done with music. I sold all of my gear, and then I went like 7-8 years without writing a song. I didn't even own an acoustic to play for myself.
Wow.
And then during that time, I moved to St. Louis, got my career started, and did well in that venture. And then about, I guess it was 2015, 2016, I'm now well ensconced in St. Louis, and I picked up the guitar. I just got the itch again, and started finding some various collaborators. And just like Sammy said, the music scene, I think everywhere is tough, finding dedicated, motivated people to collaborate with you and then share an artistic vision that you can all come to agreement on. But
Yes.
had some short-term projects between 2015 and sorry, we have an alarm going off. Stop that. Had a few projects going on between 2015 and about a year ago, or maybe a little over a year ago, when we started Library Birds. And so it's been a journey, but here we are, and we've all brought a lot of interesting experience, both in location that we've all lived, and then the musical influences that we bring to the table.
Let's talk about your band, Library Birds. Who are the other members, and what are their roles in the band? And when exactly did you form?
Sure. So yeah, Sammy's pointing at me. I got this one, Sammy. No. So I had been playing with St. Louis drumming legend Orestes Valdez for some years, actually. Even we weren't getting together a lot during COVID, but we played before COVID in a couple of projects. And then coming out of COVID, we were playing as a duo. And we had enough material that we just were hitting open mics and small clubs as a duo, sort of right on the cusp of like when clubs started opening back up and allowing for live music. And I think we adopted, just as the two of us, I think we adopted the Library Birds name in like July of 2021. So we were already writing some of the songs that even have made it this far. But even then, OV and I were quite set on looking for additional members. We knew we wanted to broaden this sound out. And we had met Sammy a couple of years ago. I don't remember all of the circumstances, but we had jammed with him a few times and had fond memories of that. Nothing congealed back a couple of years ago, but we met, I think it was November-ish of 21 when we got back in touch, something like that, October,
Yes.
November,
Yes.
in that range. So Sammy got back in touch, and at the very same time as Sammy got back in touch, our bassist and synth and sample master, Jim Turner, he and I had worked in the summer of 2021 on some video production projects together. And so we were sort of getting familiar with each other, and we're hanging out, and he played bass, and he's even got his own side project, Brutal Art of Stabbing, and he's a very prolific musician. And so it just sort of seemed to be the right group of guys at the right time. Sort of, we had a foundation set up, and we got together. And Sammy, I'll let you speak to your memory, but my memory is like the first or second time we got together, it was like, oh boy, we got something interesting going on here. It was, I've played in a lot of rooms with a lot of people, and it was just one of those moments where it's like, this makes sense right out of the box, and we barely have really done any of the work.
No, there was definitely some magic, probably, like you said, I probably felt it after the first time the four of us got together.
Yeah.
I think I think at first it was just me, you, and OV, and Jim couldn't make it that first time.
Yeah, that sounds right.
So then Jim got together on the second time with us all, and I was like, oh yeah, this is something special. And I was pretty much locked in, and I was ready, and I never expected things to move as fast as they have with this band. But it has, and it's been exciting.
Yeah, you guys got a really cool sound, and your debut EP titled Ion is available now on Bandcamp.com. Can you guys talk about the album a little bit?
Sure. I mean, it was an interesting coming together of it. Some of the I'll call them the frameworks of those songs go back a few years. Not all of them, but some of them were things that when Orestes and I were playing, even as a duo, those ideas were sort of brewing, but they were set off to the side as we need some additional input on these songs. That, there's something there, but like we need, and I've got a pretty big log of songs like that. And then it was, as Sammy just said a minute ago, I think we were all kind of shocked at how quickly things came together, because there was this backlog of these frameworks that we knew we needed additional input on. And then all of a sudden we have a couple of new geniuses come in the room in Jim and Sammy. And we went through a lot more than what ended up on this EP release, but we went through, 10 or 12 songs and learned them and agreed on what everybody liked and commented on what everybody was bringing to the table and adding to the sound. And I think we brought 7 songs to the studio. We tracked at my place. I have a little home studio, and we worked at Utopia Studios here in St. Louis with Tazoo Marshall on mixing. We took 7 songs and then ended up with 5 at the end, with the other 2 sort of back in continuing to work territory. But like Sammy said, the real shocking thing or surprising thing, maybe not quite shocking, but the surprising thing was just how well these guys took to these very vague ideas that I had, again, in some cases going back years. And then we seem to have a similar talent for just picking up a riff and going somewhere with it very, very quickly. And if everybody says, I like what's going on here, well, then it just becomes a song. And we have the, competence and great luck to be able to record anytime and anywhere we want. And we're all pretty focused. So Ion is the result of that focus over a good part of 2022.
Awesome. This podcast is going to feature 2 tracks off your EP, The Night and Taylor. What's the story behind those songs?
That's another interesting question. Sammy's smirking at me. He's ready for me to spill the secrets of the songs. No, I do. I'll confess that the songs have a specific meaning to me, and sometimes that meaning's not very easy to articulate, and that's why I write songs. But I would say Ion as a whole, the album and all of the songs in the album have themes of death and existential angst and time. And I know those are heavy topics, but those are the things that seem interesting to write about. And both of those, or all 3 of those things, I think are present in both of those songs. It's meditations on existence, phenomenology, life, death. Yeah. And unfortunately, we don't want to go too far down the rabbit hole, but I think just about everybody in this band has had a little bit of the dark side of, or the wrong side of the coin, as far as death and loss in family this year, while we were creating and seeing this vision that we had come to life in music videos, in track recordings, and in the songs that we were writing, we had multiple direct familial losses. And so I think that influenced the sound quite a bit too. And sort of, again, which songs made the cut and what we decided we were trying to say with this debut release. So it was very timely in that regard as well.
Very cool. Now, how do you guys approach songwriting? What is your creative process like?
I'd like to hear from your perspective first. I certainly have mine, but Sammy, how do you encapsulate our process?
All right, so just to let your listeners know, I play lead guitar with the band, and basically what happens is I walk in, and these guys have a song, like a skeleton, I should call it, or a foundation, I should say, and we're basically going to build on top of that foundation. And so, usually OV, like LG was saying about Orestes and, making music before, they've already worked on a lot of this stuff. And so, a lot of what Jim and I do is just come in and sort of try and figure out how to fill in the dots, or fill in color between the lines, basically, and figure out how to put this together and add to it to make it better. So that's pretty much how songwriting is from my aspect. I mean, I just go in and I listen to it and try to come up with something on the fly. And then after listening to it, after a while, I'll try and come up with better parts and just improve upon what I've come up with originally.
Sure.
So that's me, and that's how I see it. But how do you see it?
Yeah, well, it's interesting because you're describing the other side of sort of. I would say that my approach to songwriting has certainly changed over the years, and I think Orestes, to some degree, has influenced that. Just in what the kind of beats that he likes to play, his primitive caveman beats and so on. But it's interesting because when he and I started playing together, it was quite indie pop sort of stuff.
Right.
But I think we were influenced, maybe unintentionally, or just in the music that we were trading over the years, by like the post-rock stuff. Mm-hmm. And so Sammy used the term skeleton or framework. I got more and more in the habit of writing these frameworks that were almost like canvases. Mm-hmm. And I knew that they were canvases. They weren't done. Like, they weren't even fit for, acoustic night at the open mic. It's just like, I can hear something here, but I'm not by myself enough of neither talented enough nor imaginative enough to know like exactly what's going to be taken with this. And so it's really interesting to approach songwriting, and I have been approaching it like that, sort of very generic, almost pop sensibility and chord progressions, but also using the post-rock simplicity, and then seeing what Sammy and Jim and Orestes himself bring to the table, because what they bring to the sound is often wholly unexpected and nothing I could have imagined myself. But is, again, when you have these sort of framework mentality of songwriting, I'll build in parts for Sammy. I know he's going to come in and lay down something sick. I don't know what it's going to be. Mm-hmm. I'm not asking him for a specific tone. I'm just saying, what do you think about these 8 bars where you've got, something in E, and, fill it up with what you got. And then we're real honest with each other about what's working, what's not working. And we'll sort of sharpen each other up over weeks and polish a song up. That's kind of my perspective of how we've approached this project.
And I will add before you chime in, Jimmy, but I will add that it's very fresh for me to see it like that. Like, when I'm coming in, there's a new song, it's brand new. Mm-hmm. And then, I'm slowly working on it and slowly figuring it out, because, there's another new element. There's Jim. He's playing something totally different, on the keys and the bass. And then I've just got to try and make something work with all of that. And so I think everybody's doing that too, to a degree. Mm-hmm. But it's just very fresh and it's exciting. So
dynamic.
It's dynamic. I mean, it's just very fun. So I just wanted to add that in real quick.
Yeah.
You guys probably look forward to seeing what each other's comes up with, correct?
That's the best part.
Yeah.
That's the best part. It's like, what do you got next? Surprise us next. And yeah, there are songs where we'll be in the middle of playing and I'll I hate that I have this habit, but sometimes at practice I'll break down laughing. Like I'll burst into laughter just because what Sammy did was so incredible that it like blew my mind and focus on what I was trying to do. And everybody has those moments. OV on the drums tends to have a lot of. He has a whole we call it his bag of tricks. He's just got these very strange collection of percussive noisemakers that he'll bust out and make very strange, but awesome, like nothing you could have dreamed up. But he'll just reach into the bag and grab something and and then at the same time, Sammy's coming in with anything from sort of an ambient vibe to some super shredder Zappa stuff. But you're absolutely right, Jimmy, that I really do look forward. And sometimes I think of, again, I might have a framework of a song and I'm like, I bet Sammy's going to come up with the perfect part for this bridge. And I just know it. And sure enough, he and Jim and OV never falter in that. Sometimes it takes some time to hammer it out, but I feel we're all extremely excited to see one another like fun. Every week. It's just fun.
That's awesome. Now, I believe every band or artist is influenced by someone. Who are some of yours?
You want to go first, Sammy?
Oh, sure. I mean, right off the bat, like my probably biggest guitar influence would be Jimi Hendrix. Mm-hmm. I'm a big, huge Jimi Hendrix fan. I also like jam bands, blues. I like blues guitar players. I'm definitely influenced by rock but I have a lot of influences. I mean, I listen to reggae, I listen to hip hop, I listen to electronic music. I mean, it's the only thing I probably don't listen to is polka. You know what I mean? But I mean, everything else, it's pretty much I'll listen to it. Classic country, I mean, all that stuff. But I mean, the major influence on guitar would be, Hendrix, blues guitar, and jam bands.
Nice.
Very cool.
Yeah, and I would say, I know for the two that aren't here, Jim and OV, again, they're bringing a very dynamic set of influences to what they're adding to the sound. And so broad, as Sammy said, I think would describe our influences. I was telling Sammy earlier as well that I feel the most influenced by live shows, even on the local level. Like the thing that has me wanting to go write more songs and perform and push forward is seeing what other artists are doing. And that can be even in very surprising genres.
It's inspiring. Right?
It's inspiring, and especially the inspired performances. Like when a band really, even a local band with 15 people in the audience, when they really rock it. Right. Like if I see that, if I'm there for that, first of all, I'm going to tell them, great show. Like that was awesome. And I try to go to a fair number of shows to stay inspired, but I also come home from that show like I want to grab my guitar and like write some new songs myself. As far as the sound goes, again, I've been retreating more and more to this framework style of writing, but I think that's influenced again by post-rock. Sigur Rós is a band that I like a lot, even though I don't think we sound like them. Just their simplistic idea to song construction and simultaneously not being scared to really stretch an idea out over 3 or 4 minutes is something that I found liberating. Low is another one. Deftones, a fair bit of pop music like the Killers. Again, just I feel like simplicity is coming back. Simplicity is back, and like decorate it with brilliant guitaring. That's why we love Sammy so much. Decorate it with crazy synths and samples. That's why we love Jim so much. But start with the basics and build something that is truly collaborative out of it. So I feel like that's what it's about more than anything else. And again, the thing I find the most influential, inspiring is seeing other people doing that well. Mm-hmm. Whether it's, the huge show, Black Angels at the pageant, or, Future Modern at Heavy Anchor. Like I can get just as much fire out of both of those shows. So
nice. Now, can you guys describe your music?
I'm gonna kick this one to Sammy.
Okay, like I don't know how I would describe it per se. I mean, I think of it like psychedelic rock is pretty much how I would describe it, like Pink Floyd-ish. At least that's what it is in my mind. Pink Floyd-ish. But I mean, it's so much more than that. I mean, it
really is a cool sound. And I was talking to my friend Joey about it, and I actually played him the song "The Night," and we both kind of said, it's kind of like a psychedelic Linkin Park almost.
Interesting. I love that comparison because it's one that I never would have thought of.
Yeah, I would have never thought of.
Yeah, when I watched the video, when I saw you singing and stuff, and I was like, he's like almost like a psychedelic Chester,
Interesting. That's going on my resume. I'm putting that on my resume.
I mean, I'm not. Whoa. I hope that's a compliment. I hope you're taking that as a compliment because he was phenomenal. You know what I mean?
No, Jimmy. One of the most interesting things about what we've heard in feedback from this project, and we've solicited a fair bit of feedback because it's our debut album. We want outside opinions. Mm-hmm. We've heard such a broad comparison list. It really is something. And I've said to these guys many times that even if it's not something I would have never thought of, a comparison I've never thought of, I've heard REM a lot of times. And I like REM. They're a great band, but it's something I would have never even entered my brain as an influence. Mm-hmm. We've heard REM. We've heard early Pink Floyd. Yeah. We've heard Deftones. Yeah. And a lot of like more indie Porcupine Tree. There's a lot of more indie stuff too that's out there. And I never take it as an insult. I think it bodes well for us, and it's encouraging for us, in my opinion, to be compared to anything that comes to somebody's mind, because it means that something you like, whether it's Linkin Park or Deftones or early Pink Floyd, people are finding interesting resonance with what we're doing. Mm-hmm. And again, I really do think at least part of that magic is in simplicity of songwriting. Like, find something that's working, decorate it appropriately and in, appropriate sections. But when you leave sort of 3-chord, 4-chord progressions for different sections, you let people resonate with it. It's not like we can do math rock, but it's harder to resonate, in my opinion. I'm not talking any trash about math rock. I love that too, but it's not what we're doing right now. And again, I find it encouraging that we've heard such a breadth of comparisons, and I always take it as a compliment.
Yeah, always. Like I said, I thought, like, when I seen it, it just reminded me of Linkin Park, but like a psychedelic version of it. You know what I mean?
It's interesting. No, that's really interesting. Yeah, and I love it. I love it. And did you watch the whole night video through to the surprise ending?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, that was an interesting artistic choice.
Yes,
we worked with Brian McClelland, who is a local and fairly prolific director and producer here. That was his vision, and we provided acting and the song.
It was two full days of work.
Yeah, 2 full days of shooting for that. But that was his vision, and as soon as we met him to talk about an idea that he had, and we didn't even have the song at the time, but he told us this idea that was shockingly close to the final version of the video. And I loved the idea right away. It's like the second I heard it, and I said, let me go find a song that's going to work with this. And that was right around the time that Sammy and Jim joined the project last year too, is when so that was one of the first songs that we really locked in on, because it was going to fit with this concept that Brian had come up with.
Yeah, it's a great video and a great song. Now, you have a video for the song Taylor as well. Now, are you guys planning on shooting another video for any of the other singles on the album?
I am quite certain. We're not only going to be shooting more songs with regard to the songs on Ion, but I think in our 2023 plan, shooting some sessions in different locations is on our agenda. We might shoot them in studios, or we've got some ideas that are a little out there and psychedelic for sure. Mm-hmm. Some psychedelic ideas. So we don't have the entirety of 2023 mapped out, but shooting more videos, narrative videos, live performance session style videos, and
kind of like Taylor.
Yeah, kind of like Taylor is definitely on our agenda, and I imagine we'll be doing a great deal of that this year.
Now, you guys mentioned before that it was like magic when you guys were recording together, and everybody was gelling well and stuff. Now, when you guys shot the video, was it as much fun as recording the music too? When you shot the videos?
What do you think, Sam? Go ahead.
All right, I'm just going to be honest. Like Brian McClellan was great to work with. I mean, he made it really fun as much as possible, but it was grueling. It was just
it's a lot of work.
A lot of work. I mean, a lot of physical activity that I just wasn't.
We climbed up that hill, that big steep hill.
Just a lot of physical stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of walking,
lugging stuff around.
Yep. I mean,
reshoots, right?
Yeah.
You got to reshoot scenes and stuff, right, over and over again.
Yeah, definitely.
And it was just a lot of work, and so it wasn't as fun. No, I mean, playing the music and just nailing it, that's way more fun.
That's the magic, yeah.
And than shooting the video.
And the Taylor video, Jimmy, just so you know, that was shot live at my place. I have a studio with some, and during COVID, I spent that time teaching myself video production. And Jim Turner is also a full-time director, producer. So it's harder to shoot while you're performing live, but certainly not impossible if you have the equipment and some know-how. And so the Taylor video was shot live and performed live simultaneously. And that really, I felt like that was a fun night because we had agreed some weeks before that I think we did 2 songs, so we didn't release the other one. But we had just agreed, like, we're going to work on Taylor and one other song. We're going to bring all the cameras. We're going to set it up in studio. We're going to do all the lights everywhere. And we're going to perform a couple of songs. And then we did that, and the Taylor one turned out good enough to release. And I think that's exactly what the sort of thing we're going to be focused on this year is maybe not entirely. We do have some ideas to do a narrative video for Hellfire Radio, but we want to do some more live performance shoots. I feel like it's a lot easier to get somebody to watch a music video than to come to a show. A lot of because you can just send them the YouTube link. And I think, I don't want to call it underrated, but certainly more people have seen our music video or visited our website or seen us on social media than have seen us perform live yet. So far, we're still young, but we want to bring our live energy and our live performance to the video realm. And so Taylor was a very early attempt at that we all felt like turned out pretty well, but we're looking forward to doing a lot more of that and sort of bringing up the production quality this year. So
and that's another thing, Jimmy, is ideally whenever we do a live show, out and about in the city, we would like to be able to do our light show that goes with it, and that's a big part.
Show plus. Yeah, show plus.
A big part of our performance is having the
visual aspect.
Yeah, the visual aspect.
The psychedelic experience.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and we use projectors. We got really Jim and I both have a lot of lighting effects, and we've enlisted some help from other local artists to help us with like live timed lighting, and making sure projection stuff is sorted out. But we're always trying to push the envelope, maybe even a little too far in our live performances, because we've always got 15 things going on gig night to really bring something to the table beyond just, practice in public. We're really trying to go. Yeah, it's worth it, definitely. And people respond to it.
That's very cool. Now, besides the live video shoots that you talked about before, what are your plans for 2023?
Well, I know we were just talking about how many great options there are. And there are, because right now we're writing new music, just working on the next generation of songs. I know there's an eagerness from most of us to get out and play a little bit. We all had a lot going on in November. Go ahead.
We got a video also, and then we also have. We were talking about doing some sort of performance, like
the live session.
Yeah.
Well, and shows and more songwriting and all of that. No specific or rigid agenda. Just continuing to try and vibe it out. And I think that's what we've been doing the whole time, is bringing ideas to the table. Whether it's a song idea or should we go play this club idea, or should we play this festival idea, and what can we bring to that festival or show or session shoot that's a little different and a little more involved than what we've seen other people doing. And so I think that's what we plan to do, is push the envelope in as many mediums as our energy allows.
Do you guys got any gigs coming up that you want to talk about?
Nothing on the calendar, unfortunately.
Yeah, like nothing yet.
Yeah, I think we'll probably be playing out again by spring, but there's just nothing on the calendar at the moment. We've been in a little bit of hibernation mode, getting through the holidays, and I know we were all traveling, visiting family, and so on. So I think we're just getting reoriented, but we'll be out by spring in St. Louis.
Awesome. Now, do you guys have a website you'd like to promote?
Yes, librarybirds.com. Very, very straightforward. www.librarybirds.com. And you can find us on Facebook and Instagram and Spotify and Bandcamp, Apple Music. We shouldn't be too hard to find.
Awesome. Now, is there anything you guys would like to mention that we didn't talk about today?
What do you think, Sammy? Anything come to mind?
Cover everything.
Yeah, just support local music, and that's not just listening. If you made it to the end of the podcast, you're a rare bird in the first place, right? Seriously, if somebody's here listening to this part, they made it through the whole thing, and good for you. But I think one of the things that we've really been advocating for and trying to put into practice ourselves is being conscientious and contributing to the scene beyond just our aspect of the music. Go out and support your shows, listen to your podcast, comment on your friends' videos.
Network.
Yeah, network. Talk to people. I wish there was a little more of that because it's just so rewarding, and there's an overwhelming amount of talent. Even just here in St. Louis, there's an overwhelming amount of talent in your town, no matter where you are. And it means a lot to local artists, whether they're just beginning or they've been around for 10 years. It means a lot to have support. So I guess that's my other thought.
What about you, Sam?
I would just say that if you're listening to Library Birds, just know that, it's not music that you can listen to for 30 seconds and come to understand. It's music that you have to kind of sit down and listen to.
Marinate in a bit.
And it's sort of, kind of like whenever you played them old Santana records, you're in for 5-10 minute songs. And it's the experience. You're not just going to play like a Santana song and move on. You're going to sit there and listen to the whole side of it, and that's kind of what the Library Birds is all about. So
that's a good thought.
Well, guys, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show today. I really dig this EP, and I'm looking forward to hearing more great stuff from you guys this year.
Thanks so much, Jimmy.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Yeah, really appreciate you talking to us today and helping us promote our work. It's really appreciated. Greatly. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jimmy.
You're welcome. And anytime you guys want to come back on, Sammy, you know how to get in touch with me. Love to have you back.
All right, sounds good. Thank you very much.
All right, you guys have a good night, all right?
All right.
All right, take care, Jimmy.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
And what he said is his job is to fix my head. His job is to sing till he is dead. Till he is dead. Till he is dead. If this show leaks, we're gonna be stuck here for weeks. So stitch me up and see. Oh, I'll let you free, no, not from these lines. If this show leaks, we're gonna be stuck here for weeks. So stitch me up and see. Oh, I'll let you free, no, not for these crimes. If this show leaks, we're gonna be stuck here for weeks. So stitch me up, and let you free. No, not from these binds. If this show leaks, we're gonna be stuck here for weeks. So stitch me up, and he won't let you free. No, not from these vines. If this show leaks, we're gonna be stuck here for weeks. So stitch me up, and he won't let you free. No, not from these binds. If this show leaks, we're gonna be stuck here for weeks. So stitch me up, and he won't let you free. No, not from these binds.
The Record Machine Show is a weekly radio podcast produced by Jimmy Howell Productions. All rights reserved. For information regarding distribution or adding this podcast to your website, please visit our contact page at therecordmachineshow.com to submit your request. Thanks for listening. See you next time on The Record Machine Show.
The Record Machine Show.